Hello, welcome back to John the PM podcast, where we believe that managing projects is not just a job, but a way of life. So I was teaching a class a few weeks ago, and somebody noticed that I had a lot of props with me, in those areas, and I use them occasionally, in order to make certain points within the classroom, classroom academic setting. And I also keep them on my bookshelf, and sometimes people ask me, "Hey, John, what is that?" In there on those pieces. Sometimes I have to kind of like kind of look back and say, "Oh, this is what they were talking about." Well, believe it or not, there is actually a story and a reason and a purpose almost behind all of them. So that's what I just want to talk a little bit about today, which is essentially team development. But the part that I want to take on the team development portion is psychological safety. So that's kind of the general theme. So you as a project manager, one of your major jobs is to spin up a team. When you're spinning up a team, meaning that you're forming the team, getting them all the team assignments and things of that nature, is you want to create an environment where people feel that it is psychologically safe to express themselves in a professional manner relative to the project and in a good way, on those pieces. So that is your job, is to create that environment, that culture, as some people call it. Now, here's the rub. Almost 99% of the time when I ask senior management, senior leadership, how do you have a psychologically safe environment? About most of them, again, 99% of them will say, yes, I have created a wonderful environment and a wonderful culture. But see, here's the rub. It's not what the senior leader feels, it is what the staff or the workers feel. It is really from their perspective. And you as a project manager, you need to take that perspective. Look at it from the team's point of view. Do they feel psychologically safe? I do have some tools that I just kind of go to. And you know what? I didn't necessarily invent them. I've just been the benefactor of having worked for some wonderful organizations in the past. And some of them are, really from them. So I have strategically placed them on my bookshelf. Which one do I want to talk about first? Let's talk about the thumb ball. As you can see, this is a soccer ball. It's awesome. Okay. On the soccer ball, there are words or questions that are written on it. Icebreakers, questions, and things of that nature. You know what? Just email me for a list of icebreaker questions, okay? Be far easier, rather than for me to recite them here, on that side. So no issues or concerns. Sure, within a program notes, my email address is going to be in there on that side. Well, basically what you do is you have the group and you toss the ball from person to person, and wherever their right thumb or left thumb lands, that is the question that they answer. So I do have to put on my glasses, so let me put on my glasses. There we go. I'm just going to pretend to toss it to myself. There we go. And this is quite random, okay, on this side. Who is a friend that means a lot to you and why? So that's the question that came up. Who is a friend that means a lot to you and why? Now, I, as the recipient, I would respond to that. So let me see if I can. Yeah, actually, I have a couple of really close friends, known them since really my Army days. The one gentleman in particular, he gave me his last cracker when we were out during the downrange. Doesn't matter the location or anything of that nature. But at that point in time, we had actually outstripped our supply line. The attack went really, really well, in those parts. But unfortunately, we ran out of food, subsequently, in those areas. It was one of those where it was supposed to be a 2-day operation and turned into 4. In either case, we were in different elements, different platoons. And he had his, he had a MRE. We all had MREs, meals ready to eat. And he had a cracker. And I was hungry, he was hungry, and, he said, "Hey, John, you want this cracker?" We can split the cracker. So, we split cracker, broke bread, in the middle of the sand there. So you know what that means? That means friends for life, you know, in those areas. So he can do no wrong, you know, in those pieces, on those areas. So we've maintained a friendship now for, I don't know, 20, 30, no, probably 30 some odd years on those pieces. So yeah, that is one of my really, 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 really close friends on those areas. And the why behind it, quite frankly, because he shared his last cracker with me. And he didn't have to either on that side. So I probably shared a little bit too much there, but hopefully you kind of see the point. You kind of go through the different areas, or not through the different areas, but through the different participants. And the goal is to learn a little bit more about that individual, you know, on that side. And that really, really does help. All right, so I've got a couple more props here. Here's one. Obviously, I strategically place these here so I can, you know, find them pretty quick. So who's this cute guy? Yeah, it's a moose. It's a moose, okay? You know, on those areas. In this particular organization, we used to have like mooses all over the place. In fact, it became like a game. How many mooses can you collect, you know, on those areas? So as the story would go, again, this was corporate folklore. You know, obviously they kind of, you know, had some puffery to it. But basically, you know, the short story is that the moose represented the elephant in the room. And most of us have heard of that. You know, sometimes there's the pink elephant, and everybody wants to ignore it because they're trying to be polite, trying to be, you know, not trying to rub anybody wrong or anything of that nature. So this moose kind of represented the pink elephant. And basically what it is that if you had a problem that you wanted to talk with an individual and you wanted zero repercussions on it, you would just simply take your moose, place it on the table in order to have an open conversation. Now, when I first came on board with this organization, they told me, oh man, this is pretty cute. Not sure why I want to use it, but you know, it's pretty cute, you know, in those areas. So again, I was a manager, you know, and I had several folks, you know, reporting to me, you know, in those areas, and I thought that I had a open environment, you know, in those places. You know, again, don't look at it from the leader's perspective. Look at it from the staff's perspective. And this lady, you know, she came to my office. You know, she just came in. You know, we had an open door, and she just came in, sat down, and when she sat down, she had brought her moose, and she put it on the table. And when she put it on the table, I was like, is there a problem here? And she said, well, I'm bringing out the moose. I said, well, this is going to be interesting. We kind of talked through it, and through her issue, through her concerns, which were, just for the record, absolutely 100% valid, in those cases. Part of me just wanted to ask, why not just tell me this? And I kind of realized that afterwards that not only did she have to set the stage for me as the leader manager, but also for her, because he also gave her permission to speak what was on her mind. And by symbolically placing that, well, I mean, she literally placed a moose on the table, but by symbolically doing this, she was saying that, hey, I have something on my mind and I want to express it to you, but I really don't want repercussions from it or anything of that nature. And I could respect that. So I thought, this is actually a pretty cool tool. Now, you don't have to have a moose. You can buy a pink elephant if you like. You can buy whatever you want. It's both figurative and literal. Most people kind of get the figurative piece, but I would actually suggest having a literal part to that is awesome. And the reason why it's awesome is because it gives something tangible for people to connect with and to work through. So again, I offer you the moose. This is just a real quick interruption here. I know that you're enjoying yourself on that fascinating show in the world of managing projects, but just wanted to let you know that we do have books on sale, and this particular one is called The Project Manager's Quick Start Guide. I think it is an outstanding read. Why? Because, well, I wrote it. But on a serious note, it is really meant for those who are brand new in the world of managing projects, or let's say that you're mentoring a young individual, a young go-getter, and they have the very, very first project and you want to set them up for success. This is the book for you. Down in the description notes, you can go ahead and order at your will. Thank you. Have an awesome day. Last one here. The gorilla. Look at that. Look at that. The gorilla. Yep. Yeah, I got my gorilla. This is actually pretty special. The reason why, again, another organization, I've been getting a benefactor of some awesome organizations in my life in those areas. Again, I was part of the senior management team, and I think most organizations have this employee of the quarter, employee of the year, soldier of the year, soldier of the quarter, type of competition, if you want to call it that. We're employee recognition, on those areas. In those pieces. I have nothing against it, or anything of that nature. I think they're actually pretty good, and I think that the intent is good. Except for one thing. Was it really the right person? And so sometimes what would happen is that you would have employee of the quarter, and they would kind of get the, employee of the year, and they, everybody would politely clap on those areas. But in the background, you kind of say, was that person really good, or were they just good at brown nosing? Were they good at moving furniture around on the Titanic? Things of that nature. In other words, a lot of activity, but not any real work or results. So on that side. This particular management team, we kind of recognized very quickly that perhaps we were not the best people to actually choose who the employee of the quarter was or employee of the year was. Furthermore, only one could be like the one. And we did not want to create a system where only one can be the winner, okay, on that side. Because if you do that, what that also kind of does, it prevents or tells other people, hey, I might as well not try because that person's always going to win. Okay. So that is one issue. So you do have to be careful of that, in particular on sales. But that's a different subject. That's a different subject. Nor did we want participation award, like everybody wins. So we didn't certainly want where everybody wins because that just dilutes the whole process. But we didn't want just one person. So we're trying to strike a balance. And we came up with this novel idea. Actually, our HR department, Human Resources, wonderful individuals, and again, they trained me very well. But what they said was, try this. Try the Gorilla Award. Now, here's the key. The Gorilla Award was not done on an annual basis. It was actually done on a as-seen basis. And on top of an as-seen basis, it was also shown not by senior management, but by their peers. Oh, okay. Well, this is interesting. This is interesting. In other words, if a peer saw you do something wonderful, they would give you a gorilla. Now, in this case, we had like little placards, little sticky notes, if you want to call it that, and we would place them on the wall. So we actually had a wall called the Gorilla, Gorilla Award wall, on those pieces, and they would just simply, place it up there, on that side. And then occasionally, we also had like a little gorilla, and people would, place gorillas, on each other's desk and things of that nature. So that was awesome. Towards the end of the year, my general manager would assign myself and the general sales manager, actually, to go and write down all the people who were recognized by their peers, with all of them, okay? And then what we did was we went through the personnel files, kind of make sure that they weren't on a discipline plan, that they actually did show up to work, that they actually did do their base job, on those areas. Really, it was just to kind of make sure that, that they were, that they met the company requirements and things of that nature, on that side. And then we just basically awarded all those who won, I think, like 3 or more or something of that nature. Gorillas, over the course of the year, we would give them like a leather jacket and, bonus money, of course. We would gross it up to account for taxes, on that side. But what we noticed at the annual event, holiday party, was that no one, I mean like zero people would say that person didn't deserve it. And that was pretty cool, on that side. They, in those areas. So that was awesome, in regards. It was kind of, bottoms up, type recognition. It wasn't just a situation where only one could win, but several. We did have safeguards to kind of make sure that, they were representative of the company, in the sense that they did show up, for their work assignments and did a great job on those. And then senior management, we would kind of, parse it down to, to the finals, on those areas. But again, it was a wonderful system, and I absolutely 100% loved it. Okay, so that was probably a little bit more than what I expected to cover today. But just as a recap, thumb me ball, who me ball, you can call it whatever you like. By the way, you don't have to use a soccer ball. You can use a beach ball. It's probably inflatable. The moose, remember the pink elephant, on those pieces. Yeah, but still got mine. And the Gorilla Award. Okay. And the purpose of it is to try to not only build a team quickly, as an icebreaker, but also keep them motivated and engaged in their work. All right, so that kind of sums it up for today. Please don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, on those areas. We would greatly appreciate it. Kind of keeps me going, helps my folks keep going, as well on those areas. Look forward to our next conversation.